Hey y'all, this is Sparks into Blazes. Today I want to go over a section of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verses 8 through 11. Verse 8, all things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, or the ear its fill of hearing. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which one can say, look, this is something new? It was here already, long ago. It was here before our time. There is no remembrance of men of old, and even those who are yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow. Why do I read this today? Because this world, especially in my own area of influence, I suppose, or just environment, U.S., we have a great amount of people in this country who are constantly following, trying to find out what's new, trying to find out what satisfies, what's nirvana, if you will. What is the answer? It seems like people are constantly throughout history just on this bender to try to look for some drug or answer or escape from pain, of suffering, and it's just not there. At least it's not in the places that they're looking. It's in Jesus Christ. Only place it ever was, only place it'll ever be. And it doesn't look this satisfaction that people crave and look for. It doesn't look like how they want it to look like. I read this because we have a great problem, even within the church, of trying to find satisfaction in places where it's just not going to be found. Satisfaction is not found anywhere outside of Christ. Now, that being said, Christ, God has made good things to be enjoyed within the right context. There are good things in this world. There are. But nearly every single one of those things can, on a certain level, be abused, and is abused, unfortunately. All things in moderation. That's why it says that. I don't know exactly what I'm getting after here, if you haven't caught on already. But if you're watching this, and you don't know where to find the satisfaction that you're craving, the satisfaction that you're looking for, go ahead and stop. Stop right here. And go read this book, Ecclesiastes, handwritten by the richest, most well-off man in all of human history. He had the most booze, he had the most stuff, he had the most women, he had the biggest house, best of everything in all of human history. You come to the end of this book and he's the most depressed and miserable person you've probably ever read about. And he says, in the first chapter, in the 9th verse, what has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. There is nothing new under the sun, unfortunately. We still, as we did in Solomon's day and well before that, we still have the same parade and procession of people constantly looking for things in the wrong places, trying to find satisfaction, trying to find meaning, and it's just not there. If we backtrack through the years, we can see it. 60s, 70s, that time period, we had the great LSD boom. Everyone's trying to do LSD and find nirvana. That's a great example, as a matter of fact, that little piece of history. But we have 6,000 years of recorded human history. And we see all throughout it people seeking riches and fame and possessions and stuff. And it's not that sex or things or even alcohol, to a certain extent, of course, like with the other things, it's not like those things aren't meant to be enjoyed. But without God, there is no true enjoyment of them. Without the proper perspective, if you will, on the things that God has made to be enjoyed, they're not enjoyable. Not really. Stop looking in the wrong places for something that you're not going to find. Stop wasting your breath and your time. Your time is short. If you haven't noticed already, 80 years ain't very long. Man, I'm 20. I'm only 20. And I can barely even imagine. I can barely even imagine how it's going to feel. Just 60 years looking back, perhaps, if God blesses me with that much, I can barely imagine how I'm going to see the life that I've lived. I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea if I'll even live that long. It could be any set amount of time. But I can barely imagine what I will think of and what I will see when I look back at my life. But I know that when I do look back, it'll feel like it was a blink. It'll feel like it was nothing at all. Like a breeze came through, and that was the past. Like it was a wind, there and gone. And that's my encouragement, but also my warning. I'm a young man. I don't have perspective on life as far as living a whole lot of it. I don't pretend to. But I do have the fortune of having met a whole lot of men that have come before me who have lived long lives, some of which have looked back and said, I have lived a good life, and shared with me insights into how to live a good life myself. But I've also had the blessing, and perhaps even more so than the men that have lived a good life, I've had the blessing of seeing and meeting and talking to men who have lived horrible lives, because they were able to give me a good perspective and tell me I lived a terrible life. I have nothing to show. A lot of people I've met, unfortunately, well into their years, received Christ, and they look back and are like, man, I've wasted it. And they do their best from that point on, but you can't get back what you've already squandered. So if you're a young man, or even if you're an old man, use the time that you have left. Every second that you waste is a second you could have used for something meaningful, like seeking Christ, like spreading the gospel, instead of chasing after the wind. That's what it is. When we're looking in the wrong places for things that you cannot find there. And as you go through Ecclesiastes, you'll find it goes through pleasures and stuff and even knowledge. I didn't mention that one, knowledge. Sometimes doctors, even theologians, professors, of course, and great thinkers, they get it into their head that if I just seek after knowledge, that's the answer. I'll find meaning there. And they're half right. It's a good thing to seek after knowledge, but see if we can find it real quick. There's a good verse in here that talks about that. Right. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 11. The words of the wise are like goads, their collected sayings like firmly embedded nails, given by one shepherd. Be warned, my son, of anything in addition to them. Now that's a good part of it, but that's not what I'm getting at. This is what I want you to get. Of making many books, there is no end, and much study wearies the body. There's a whole lot of books that have been written. There's a whole lot of knowledge in this world to be attained to. But much study will weary you. Study and knowledge is not the answer. Same way that smoking weed, sniffing up a line, crack, whatever your thing is, pornography, not your answer. Of all the things I could mention, that is probably the most used thing that I've had in my life, in my past, to try to escape reality, to try to find meaning in this world. And I can tell you right now, there's nothing there. I'm happily married. I got 2 kids. It's better than any of the things I've ever sought after. So with that, I close. If you're seeking in the wrong places for things you won't find, turn to Jesus. Man, and when you do, you'll notice something. Never in your life has your flesh, has your body ever fought against anything so hard as when you seek Christ. It's a strange thing. Every part of you yearns for the things that will hurt you. But when you find truth, the testament to the truth also, but your flesh will fight you. Your body will hate you for it because it craves the things that will inevitably hurt you. But seek Christ anyway, because he can give you the strength to overcome and to carry on, to be better. I hope you guys have a blessed day. And I really, really do not. I do not want for you anything less than the best. And Christ is the best. We'll be praying for y'all.